I wanted to explain to you a little bit more about what spicy means and why I use that acronym. Basically, when I hear people talk about kids that are tricky or challenging, I find that just the tone, the language, the wording that people often use is a bit mean, disrespectful, derogatory, or like just negative. It just, if I hear someone talk about a defiant or an oppositional kid, I just am like, ugh, I don't want to be around that. It doesn't sound okay. It sounds like there's something wrong with the kid. And to me, spicy means neither good or bad. Like some people like spice, some people don't like spice. If you're from Argentina, you have a spicy diet. If you're from, I don't know, Scandinavia somewhere, you're not really into spice. So I prefer saying a kid spicy because it's not so negative and kind of condescending. But the other reason why I go with the spicy acronym or spicy word is because I developed an acronym that kind of goes with it. The kind of five hallmarks, I guess, that sort of define what a spicy kid is like. And those five are shame. So they're shame avoidant, shame intolerable. They just cannot do shame. It's just a constant, like the number one sort of trait that spicy kids share is that they feel like they're bad inside. The other piece that goes with S is they skip feelings. They're scared of big feelings. That would be sort of the two kind of hallmark pieces of spicy kids is that big feelings, they don't know what to do with them, they don't like them. And then the other part is shame, that they have shame over their big feelings. And kind of like, I have these big feelings, this big response to something. I need a grown up to help me. I need a grown up to help me feel like I'm not a bad person, but I have shame over that exact thing that I need to ask for your help and that I have these big feelings. And that then, obviously, as you can imagine, that leads to a really big internal conflict. And then why they often erupt and have really horrendous behavior is because this internal conflict is going on. They don't know how to navigate it. And then they also don't know what to do with the grownups in their lives when the grownups are trying to help them with the big feelings and the shame because both feel intolerable. The P stands for power. They're power seeking. They need to feel a lot of personal power, which kind of translates into choice and autonomy. The other P's are playful. They love, being silly. They tend to need a lot of preparation for things. You can't kind of spring stuff on them. I stands for incessant. That was one of the traits that when we did the survey with over 800 people, people said that incessant that was the one. That and shame intolerable were the two that every single person that did it said, this is a trait my kid has. They are just so persistent and incessant and inflexible oftentimes with their requests and the things that they want and the things that they need. Like they just don't give up. And what that then feels like to a lot of the adults in their life is that you're giving in. It feels like the only way to get them to shut up, what a lot of parents say, is if I give in, or he always gives in to her, or she always is giving in to what he wants, and then the C is for connection. They love connection. They love one-on-one time. They often express bids for connection, which often look different than other kids who aren't spicy. Like a kid who's totally old enough to put on their shoes, a spicy kid of the same age might say, I need you to put my shoes on for me. I can't put my shoes on. And a lot of times parents look at them and think they're lazy or they're helpless when in actuality, it's a spicy way. So spicy kids often try to connect with you. I believe I'm not lovable. I believe I'm bad inside. Will you help me put my shoes on? And it's like this twisted kind of backwards way that they're like seeing, am I lovable? Am I enough? Am I bad? Or am I good? And then our response of, I know you know how to put your shoes on, but I will help you, communicates you are lovable, you are worthy, that sort of thing. Whereas when we go, you are old enough to do that. You are 7 years old, or you're 10 years old, or you should be capable to do that yourself. That then validates the belief that they have, which is, I'm not lovable. I'm obviously the way you just responded. And then Y stands for yes, which is, and we need to say yes as much as possible. They do really well when we have a day that's just full of yes. They have an allergy to the word no. They just don't cope when you say, no, we can't do that. They just explode. And the other Y for the acronym is you're a good kid. When you start telling spicy kids, you're a good kid, having a hard time, when they're having a meltdown, it can be a game changer because they just have such a core belief that they're bad, that any interaction you go into with a spicy kid, you want to lead with and start with, I know you're a good kid having a hard time. And that then sort of soothes that part of themselves that feels the shame is bad in me. I'm a bad person. The reason too why I think the spicy acronym is kind of different than what you would see in a lot of other parenting strategies and techniques and other stuff that I teach myself, is validating emotions, naming emotions, empathizing with emotions. They don't like to talk about emotions. They don't want to do emotions. They don't want to do feelings. So when you use a strategy that's totally appropriate and great for another kid, a non-spicy kid, it makes them actually erupt and it makes them kick off more. So, for example, if you have a kid who's feeling really angry and you say to them, a non-spicy kid, and you say, I see you're feeling really angry. That's really frustrating. What happened? Labeling the emotion and validating it. A spicy kid is like, how dare you talk about the two things I hate more than anything, my feelings and my shame. And you just called both of them out. And they don't know what to do with it. And so they explode even more. They say, stop talking, go away, because you just talking about feelings is too overwhelming to me because I'm already feeling them. And now you want to talk about them? Ugh, too much. Go away. And the thing with spicy kids, like the fundamental, is they are so misunderstood because what really is going on for them is they have big feelings. They feel shame for those big feelings. They need help with those big feelings, but we often reject, isolate, let them storm off and go to their room. We don't go chase them. But that's exactly what they need, right? Because the story that they're telling themselves is that I'm a bad person, I'm unlovable. And if I let these big feelings out, not only am I going to feel the shame and the intolerableness of that, but I'm also going to alienate the grown-ups and I'm going to push them away when they see these big feelings. And so they have this real dichotomy, this real friction within themselves of not knowing what to do with these big feelings, needing your help, but not wanting your help, having shame about all of that, and just feeling bad inside. So yeah, that's kind of what spicy is about. And it's a very different way of working with kids than what is sort of the mainstream kind of way of working with children. And when I have started implementing these strategies and doing like these kinds of techniques with my spicy daughter, it's made a huge difference and just been an absolute game changer in her behavior and meltdowns and stuff. So I hope it helps you as well.